how long does it take for a word to be considered folklore? And presently, can new folklores be added?
Transformation. Picking the symbol and you transforming it into something. And the law says you need permission before you can do that.
What if there's a folklore in Ghana that is actually the same as a neighboring country's folklore?
If Ghana copyright allows something, but a foreign country does not, how does it usually go?
Our Chinese brothers, anything they see, they can replicate. Are the copyright laws in Ghana spotting these things? Because they do them on commercial basis.
Hello. This is Bnoskka IP Zone. And today too we have met and we want to look at Ghana government and international body of copyright and then at the same time folklore. I have some wonderful guests in the studio with me. Some lovely lady in a red jacket with a red seat and another lovely gentleman also in some color with a red seat as well. All right, so let me hear your voice. Who want to start first?
I'll go first.
Okay, the lady. Please, your name and tell us where you come from.
Hi, guys. My name is Margaret Doe. I'm also known as Mex, and I'm a recording artist and a content creator.
Okay. And you too?
And my name is Phillip Neewhang. I'm a musical artist, a content creator.
So my name is also Benjamin Oduro Arhin Jr. I'm a creative arts, business and intellectual property consultant. And you can call me Bnoskka, I'm telling you. Right, so today we have our 11th episode. And under this episode, we want to look at Ghana government and international body of copyright and folklore protected. So we're going to take our clue from what is Ghana government and international body of copyright. So when we say Ghana government, we mean to say that for copyright purposes, everything that has got to do with infringement in terms of civil remedies and criminal remedies, for the criminal aspect, it lies with the government. So therefore, if you report anybody infringing on your copyright case, it is the Ghana government that is going to do the prosecution, okay? Because it is going to be a criminal in nature. It is the police that will have to gather facts and then prosecute whoever that is infringing on your right. At the same time too, if it borders within two countries, then if the infringement is happening here in Ghana, it is the Ghana government that is going to do the investigation. And if you are seeking for civil remedies, that is to be able to take money from whoever that has deprived you from getting your money, then you have to find a lawyer. That is what the law says. You have to find a lawyer to fight your cause. But if it's about criminal nature in terms of somebody stealing your songs and making copies of them and selling without your knowledge, so it has both criminal and civil. And the criminal aspect will be done by the police system because they have got the prosecution right. And they're under the Attorney General's office. So they work hand in hand with the police as well. And then if it's about international body of copyright, what this basically simply means is that under the whole world, when we started to make protection for musicians, for video, for film producers, poets, writers, sculptors, software designers, craft, musical works, dance, choreography, and all that artistic expressions, there was a particular law that almost the world leaders met at a place in Italy called Bern. And that was in the year of 1883. So they started to deliberate about how to make a law that will bind every member state within the United Nations. So in 1886, that is when they came up with the Bern Convention. And the Bern Convention was basically for artistic and literal expressions to protect them. And that falls under copyright. So for example, if you are a musician, you are a videographer or an artist in the movie as an actor or actress, whatever you are, that you express creativity within that. This law protects you, and it protects you and somebody else in another country. So if a country has rectified or has joined the World Intellectual Property Organization, for short WIPO, then it means they will be able to protect your works under that. Then we also have what we call Universal Copyright Convention, for short UCC. This UCC simply protects everybody within the universal scope of Ghana and other countries. And what it basically means that because copyright, it is not geographically bound. It's an expression of your thought, which is automatically, whether you register it or you don't register. So the Universal Copyright Convention protects you, and it also gives you the means to fight for your case for somebody who is maybe living in another country apart from your country, and it is infringing on your rights, so that you can, based on the law, you can be able to fight for that. Then in Africa too, we have what we call ARIPO. ARIPO basically means African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, and their office is based in Harare, Zimbabwe. And so you can be able to use that Harare protocol to be able to fight for your copyright infringement if the person who is infringing is within the African country. Then we also have the European Union Intellectual Property Organization, okay, EUPO, and you can also be able to use their system to be able to fight for your cause. And then we have the Americans. They have their Article 17 as their copyright law, and therefore, if by international deeds, if somebody is infringing on your song, you can go to America. You can't fight the case here because it's international. You, the artist in Ghana, you can go to America and use their law because it is international body of copyright to be able to make sure that whoever that is infringing on your right in America, whether in Europe or in Asia or in Africa, to be able to fight your cause. So that is how international body of copyright operates. Every country protects the works of other citizens under the Berne Convention. Okay, now let's come to what is folklore. When we say folklore, folklore basically means the material and non-material expressions of culture which identify people. So for example, tribal marks, symbols, like in Ghana, they call it Adinkra symbols, okay? The weaving systems that we have, for example, the kente weaving. We have the kente weaving from Bowere Kente. We have the kente weaving styles from the Volta. We have the kente weaving styles in that of Togo, and the kente, or another weaving tradition which we call smog or fugu from the Tamale and the northern part of Ghana. All these ideas are protected by law under what we call folklore. And so the Ghanaian law says that all folklore are vested in the president on behalf of the citizens and the people of Ghana against one, reproduction, translation, adaptation, communicating to the public, and then also commercialization in any form, whether in cable or by air means. So in cable or by air means that radio and television are all protected. So if you need to use any idea of folklore, any material expressions of folklore or non-material expressions of folklore, you need to first write a letter of permission, seeking permission from the National Folklore Board. In Ghana, we have the National Folklore Board under the Copyright Act 690/2005. So when you write a letter to them, they will look at how commercialization you're going to use that folkloric idea. It could be the Anansi story, okay? The Anansi story, you want to write it into a book. You need permission. And then also, it can also be the folk tales that we have, the hero stories, the Asebua Menfi, the Yas Antues, and all the Dinchra Wars, the Asante Wars, and all that are all folkloric protected. And so if you want to be able to commercialize it, for example, Yaka food, the way we make fufu, the way we make gari, the way we make apaperensa, kwekpele by the gas, and then the akpele and by the Evis, and all the food knowledge that we have in Ghana. If you want to bring them into commercial entities, the law says that you need to seek permission before you can be able to use them. And so let's look at the implications of these things against the citizens and how people or artists understand them. Basically, you can take any folkloric song. For example, if it is to bovi, or Kofi Brahmi India Goro Nagro Yede, or any particular song, okay? If you want to make that song into your craft, either it's a movie or it's a music, or for example, you have a pub and you want to use that song as your ringing tone in the pub, or a television want to use that, okay? You need to write a letter to seek permission. That's what the law says. And the adaptation means that you are taking one part of it and modifying it to be able to suit something. You need to seek permission. If it's about graphic designer, you are a graphic designer, you've seen an Adinkra symbol and you want to incorporate that Adinkra symbol in your graphic artwork. For example, a billboard or a funeral obituary. Whatever it is, you need to seek permission. Okay? Now, translation. So let's assume that you have found some folkloric ideas in Tamale or the southern part of Ghana, and you want to, it is in the Sidabani language, you want to translate it into Akan and write a book about it or make something with it, you still need permission because the law says translation is also protected, right? So these are the means through which the law is protecting folklore and how we can address it, whether within the Ghana government or the international body of copyright. And all these embodied together is to make sure that every person who has created something unique and new will have the means to enjoy it solely, so that when it becomes free, then other people can also use it. This is how we want to protect copyright for artists and creators and content creators. But for the purpose of education for this program, we can be able to say that we can use any means within our educational platform, okay, because it's for education, to be able to use it. But if it is for commercialization, let's say you want to create a song for people to dance with, you want to make a movie, and you want to incorporate all these folkloric ideas, you need permission. Let me come to the house and ask my guests what questions. And then let me also say that those in the in-house, if you have a question, please just raise your hand, signal me. I will give you the opportunity to ask a question. Let's start. You want to go first?
Bnoskka,
Yes, please.
can a community claim a folklore under the Copyright Act?
Unfortunately, no. The law says that it is embedded in the president on behalf of that community you want to refer to. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So a community that, so let's say that particular community,
Yeah.
that's where that idea of the folklore came from.
Yeah.
And
It belongs to them.
yes, it belongs to them. They are, let's say, tradition, because it forms part of them.
Yeah.
But under the teachings, it means it doesn't belong to anybody. Nobody can claim.
No, it belongs to, this is what the law says in Copyright Act 690/2005, Section 4. I want to read it. It says, an expression of folklore is protected under this act against reproduction, communication to the public by performance, by broadcasting, distribution by cable or other means, and adaptation, translation, and other transformation. The right of folklore is vested in the president on behalf of and in trust of for the people of the Republic of Ghana. So whoever becomes the president holds all copyright in terms of folklore on behalf of the people. And so there has been some real studies ongoing currently. Personally, I've also done some studies, and people really don't understand why it has been crafted that way, the law.
Like that.
But that is what the law says.
Doesn't have any background to those stories, the folklores and the folktales.
Okay.
That's what I think. Let's say if we are Ghanaians or Akans, right, and we have a folklore, it's something that our community we use. So the president has the right to the folklore. And the thing is, copyright means we can use it, but then if somebody else decides to use it, the president can now take the law into their like, you get it? Like, I don't think the president will come and say, guys, don't use this expression when you're having traditional stuff. Okay. Like, by permission, even though we created it, we are allowed to use it.
Yes, you are allowed to use it, but for a commercialization purpose. Okay? For example, you are making your festival, you want to sing your songs, you want to do whatever, you are feel free to do. But if an artist within that community wants to use that particular thing for
Commercial.
purposes, an individual person, no, you are not allowed to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think
It makes sense, but really, to me personally, I don't really agree with that.
Yes.
It really hampers creativity. I'll give you an example. Do you know why a lot of people are doing rap music now?
No.
Why? Because that is where they think it is free for them to do. Okay? We are here and people are promoting patois, dancehall music. Why? Because that is where they get their inspirations from. So if we had liberated it and made it that Ghanaians are exempted, but foreigners are not exempted. So if you are not a Ghanaian, then it means if you want to commercialize it, you need to ask permission. But if we're a Ghanaian, then we can have people who will go into the natives, collect folkloric ideas, make movies about it, make songs about it, to promote our culture. Okay?
yeah, but
Promote our culture, but as it stands now,
has there been really a case where a Ghanaian artist used a folklore in their song and they got penalized?
okay. So far, to the best of my knowledge, nobody has been arrested for not seeking permission. I've been to the folklore board, asked them several questions. The three previous executive directors, I have their contact, spoke to them. They are trying to make sure to implement it, but it has been tough. And the reason why they've not been able to do is that the law also mandates them to create a register that has all folklore included, so that if somebody is using it, you'll be able to differentiate it is the person's personal creativity or it's a folklore. And since that has not been well documented, that becomes a challenge.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is a question I wanted to ask. So it's good you mentioned this. If I'm an artist, like I'm Ghanaian, I want to do something using Ghana folklore, and you mentioned the National Folklore Board, right? Can I go there and say, hi guys, I want to do something with Ghana folklore. Can I go through folklores that you have? I mean, I'm sure they may not have an extensive list, but do they have like something I can ask for?
Yeah, I think it should be possible, but because I don't work there, I may not be able to give you an answer yes or no. But the law, what it says is that first, you cannot just go there and say hi. You have to write a letter and state exactly what you want to use that folklore for. And then based on that, they can make an assessment and ask you to pay 1 cedi or one, what they call a shilling or whatever currency. They would ask you to pay that amount. So that with that commitment, that money you have paid goes to the revenue of the state. And then also you can have that means to commercialize.
I have something to say. So I personally had an experience with the folklore board. There was a time I wanted to do a logo, and I used one of the Adinkra symbols. So I called them and I was like, okay, I want to do this. How much did it cost me? And they gave me a price. And I asked them, what do I get from paying you guys? Like I can literally use something else and just move on with my life. And what they told me is that paying gives you the opportunity to be affiliated to them. And when they have events and stuff, they would promote you as well. So like, let's say they're having, they have communities because they're like into traditional stuff, tourism and stuff. You can sell your products. They give you that kind of exposure. They put you on their platform. They try to sell you because it's like, this is a national element and you are using it. So they also will be like, okay, yeah, see, this company is in this, so that's what they told me to convince me.
Can you share the price with us? How much?
I think what I remember, I'm not too sure, but it was more like 300 cedis-ish. But they told me that they can't give something concrete till they see the extensiveness of what you are doing, what exactly you are doing it for, what kind of company you are, if you are an SME or, it depends, like a corporation. So all that comes into play. And they told me I shouldn't be afraid. Like, if I'm a young company, they're always willing to work with young people. So it was quite assuring. And I was happy to know at least I'll get promotion.
But did you pay?
No, I mean, I didn't get that far. Like, I didn't get that far. Like, it was a good experience.
Okay. All right. That's cool. So any other person from in-house, any question?
Oh, the international before? And then someone speaks international.
Let him come in quickly.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so my name is Samuel Bananjan.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, as he mentioned, he said, before you use Adinkra symbols and stuff, you're supposed to pay some money.
Write a letter.
Yeah, so you're supposed to write a letter and then you carry on from there.
Yeah.
So are there instances that we are allowed as like citizens of Ghana to know that this is what they are using the monies for? Yeah, like that's just my question.
Okay, all right. That, I think the Folklore Board would be able to answer that, because the law hasn't stated how and what they will use the money for. Okay? Mine is to educate you on these things so that if you want to use folklore, you know what to do. Okay? And so therefore it is. Okay, now let's come.
Let me come before him.
Okay.
Those who use the folklore designs for outfits,
Yep.
like regular people, they just pick it up and they print a Adinkra symbol. Some people design the art piece by cutting like African print material. They use it for their outfits, like clothing.
And they sell it.
Yeah,
They sell the
sell it. Yes, they do sell it.
So they need
What
to
happens
seek
to-
permission.
Seek permission
Yeah.
before they use it.
Yeah. That's what the law says.
And what if there's a folklore in Ghana that is actually the same as neighboring countries' folklore?
Good.
What happens to the copyright issues around that?
Okay, so the law says that we should have a register, like I said earlier. So if we have a register, then the register will let us know what is exclusively Ghanaian and what also goes to neighboring countries, so that we'll be able to, for example, I was saying that we have Kente design, which is basically Ghanaian. We have some that looks like Ghanaian, but it's not Ghanaian, from Togo. You see? So all these issues comes in. But the register, if it is there, if it has been made, then it will be able to tell us that, oh, okay, this is what Ghanaian folklore actually means. Okay? So until we have that, then...
And for those who even weave kente,
yeah.
you know, they put in all those Adinkra designs. They have a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So that one that we are even selling them traditionally, these people, these are their artworks they are doing.
Yeah.
Right? How do you quantify that if it's under copyright in the government? Like, you know, how do you go about that? Because these people, these are their artworks that they're using their hands to do. Yeah. And this one, it doesn't matter whether the folklore or the folk tales that we have, some of the products are embedded in their artwork.
Yeah.
So something like that, how do you go about it?
So that is transformation. Picking the symbol and you transforming it into something. And the law says you need permission before you can do that. Yeah. So translation, transformation, adaptation. Okay. For example, you want to make a chair, and then you see Jinyami symbol crafted within the chair.
The wooden stuff.
Wooden stuff. And you are selling. The moment, if you are making it to use it at home without selling, that's okay. But the moment you put it there, I'm selling, this is how much it costs. Then it means the law says you have to pay. You get the concept.
Yeah.
Great. Any more question? Let's come to you.
So I was going to ask about the copyrights, right? The international body and the Ghanaian government. What I wanted to ask was, for a Ghanaian artist collaborating with an international artist,
Yeah.
what kind of like direction would you say to look out for? So let's say I'm in Ghana and I'm collaborating with, let's say, someone in the US or South Africa. When it comes to copyright like that, how does it really work? Is it solely based on, because let's say Ghana copyright allows something, but a foreign country does not, you know, how does it usually go?
Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, it is only the Ghanaian Copyright Act which has made folklore at that aspect not free to use. Okay, you go to other countries, what they do is they try to even brand it, create an identity for the people within their specific communities to be able to make use of it. But if you are collaborating with another artist, you're a Ghanaian, you are collaborating with another artist, let's say in China, or wherever in the world, then it's a test case, because it is at the court that would be able to explain to us. And sometimes too, as being a good citizen, you can file at the Supreme Court for interpretation to some of these things to help us understand what really the law should be like. If it is good for the people, if it is not good for the people, because the law was made to help us. So if it is not helping us, then what's the use of it? I hope you get my point clear. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so as you mentioned earlier, that if you are supposed to, like, you want to sample some of the Nyame some of the Adinkra symbols, you are supposed to write properly to Ghana Folklore
Board.
Yes. So we live in a system where people always want to have shortcut ways to be able to do stuff. What measures are being put in place to make sure that someone is not sampling these symbols and monetizing them? And, like, what measures are being put?
Okay, that's fantastic. I wish the National Folklore Board director was here to answer, because I don't know any measures they've put in place. You remember in 2019, the National Folklore Board director then, Madame Adobia Asante, she raised an issue where a movie was made, and then Ghanaian Kente appeared in the movie, the Wakanda. If you remember that movie.
Even the people.
Yes. Okay. So, and one of the stations, I think Kasapa FM called me that what is my take on it. And I told them that, yes, the director has really spotted an infringement, but she has no locus. The thing is that our law itself, what we need to do to make sure the law works, we have not been able to done. Some of the measures you are asking, that's why I'm citing this example. For example, like I keep saying, the law says we need a register. That register will clearly define any Kente products that you see that is authentically Ghanaian, so that you wouldn't be able to fight a losing battle. There are weaving traditions all over the world. Everybody weave. So if somebody is weaving, and then that kind of weaving looks like a Ghanaian, and you don't have a typical idea of what Ghanaian Kente should look like, then the measures you are looking for you to prevent such infringement will be quite difficult to deal with. So this is what I would say.
Another example would need our Chinese brothers. You know, anything they see, they can replicate and do the exact same thing. Are the copyright laws in Ghana supporting these things? Because they do them on commercial basis.
Okay. So I want to also say that it is not the Chinese themselves who are doing it. It is the Ghanaians who are sending the business to China to do that. Do you know why? Because a Chinese man doesn't know what is Jinyame symbol. He doesn't know Sankofa symbol. He doesn't know Abebrese symbol. He doesn't know any of our traditions here. They are there to make business. They've got the machines and the product. So if you go and you pick, let's say, GTP designs, like a Sika Yemoja, Sika Yesunsum, and then you pick it to China for them to print for you. All they need is, we are printing for you, we get our money, take the product. Okay? So these are issues. I don't want us to go into national issues and say that somebody sitting somewhere is doing something against us. Okay. So that if anybody watching us in China or listening to anyone, they wouldn't say that we are using our platform to castigate them. It isn't so. Okay? So the Chinese are doing good business. It is our people who are picking the business to them, and they are not doing the right thing. And that is how I think it should be. In the absence of any further questions, any other question?
I
Contribution?
Ask.
Do. Okay.
How long does it take for a word to be considered folklore? And presently, can new folklores be added?
Okay. So folklore simply means that it is old traditions which have existed long time, and nobody can be traced as the owner or the creator of it. Okay? That is what it means, folklore. So, for example, there's a song that goes, Dana say, Dana say. If you cannot find anybody presently as the person who originated it, then it means it belongs to the whole community. So it's a folklore. Okay, for example, who was able to devise how we do abebrese or fufu or kwepuli? That kind of idea of creating that thing had existed long before. So once we can't find an owner, then it becomes a community owned, which is folklore. Right. So in the absence of that, this is our episode 11. We've looked at international body of copyright, Ghana government, and folklore protected. Thank you very much for being with us. Make sure you send your comments, you subscribe, and you like the video and you share. And make sure you watch it over and over to be able to understand some of the things we're talking about. If you don't understand, you can watch our previous episode and to help you get it. This is Bnoskka. I'm telling you for joining us. Thank you.